Hi, Afif Habbal. Hi, Noor. Hi, Samar. Good to see everybody.
So hello everyone. مساء الطاقة لكل اللي عم يحضرونا. اليوم رح نحكي بالانجلش لانه معنا كمان سبيكر انجلش سبيكينج. فاذا عندكم حيلا سؤال بدكم تسالوه بالشات بوكس، فيكم تسالوني اياه على زوم، فيكم تسالوني اياه على يوتيوب. حتى لو سالتوه بالعربي انا برجع بساله بالانجلش. رح نحكي عن الهاكاثون يلي عملوه التو انيشيتيفز. هلا بيخبرونا اكثر عنه، بس بالاول رح رحب فيهم ورح اطلب من كل شخص يعرف عن حاله. So hello everyone again. If you have any questions you can write them in the chat box. We have a hackathon that we will be talking about at the end of this like-minded gathering. I would like my speakers to introduce themselves. I will start with Kristoff. Hi Kristoff.
Hi, Andre. Hi, everyone. Nice to see all of you at the call today. And yeah, my name is Kristoff Kleemann. I'm, as you hear from my accent, German, and I am the project director of the Friedrich Naumann Foundation for Freedom, which is a German political foundation that has been working in Lebanon for more than 25 years. We, as priorities, we work in Lebanon on three main topics. The first topic is helping entrepreneurs and startups. That's what we're going to be talking about today in more detail. We have different programs that we've been running throughout the years. This year we did a startup school that was meant to be a pre-accelerator program. We had done also other online hackathons already with David Munir in the past that we might be touching on a little bit later. So promoting entrepreneurship and helping startups is one stream of work of our foundation here in Lebanon. The other one, and that's the biggest one, I would say, is political education programs that we are doing with various institutions here in Lebanon, universities, but also schools. And then the third stream of work that we are doing is in the field of human rights and media freedom, where we do different kind of projects on women's rights, for instance, or on media freedom with the Samir Kassir Foundation. So that's basically it, what we are doing as a foundation. And I have been here only since March. So a kind of a special time to be arriving in the country, but I'm very much enjoying it.
Welcome, Kristoff, to Lebanon. And we've been working with FNF for the past years, and you did a lot as an organization in Lebanon in terms of political change and social work and entrepreneurial empowerment. So thank you for all your activities. David Munir Nabti. I guess everyone knows you, but you have to introduce yourself.
Sure, happy to. I doubt everybody knows me. I often try to work in the background, but sometimes I end up working in the foreground as well. I have been back in Lebanon for 15 years now, moved back here partially in 2004, otherwise more fully at the beginning of 2005. And I've been working in the entrepreneurship space in some way or another for about the last 13 years. One of the things that we have, I'll tell you, people might know me, but I don't know if people also are aware of this journey that we've been going through, and that we are now going through another sort of iteration of that journey, which is from the first co-working space that I helped to start back in 2008, which was called 2007, 2008, which was called Root Space, and then shifting to Alt City. And then in Hamra, actually the root space was right next to the port in the Saifi area. So thankfully we moved out of there a while ago. But then to Hamra, and then to work on programs, and then to see how we can be working in more different areas. But then starting about 3 years ago, starting the journey to see how we could be more impactful by doing more stuff online and leveraging technology more. And through that, we transitioned to Pitchworthy and the sort of online programs. And then we thought, okay, well, how can we do even more and be even more impactful? And we started transitioning towards the idea of a platform, of a software as a service platform through Bloom. And I know many startups. Andre has so much experience in this space, and knows that the journey goes through these iterations to try to figure out how to be most impactful for a social enterprise, or otherwise grow for other enterprises. And we have been going through that journey as well, and excited to still be seeing how we can do that more, and working with great partners like you and Kristoff and others to see how we can, and Noor here from Submarine and others, to see how we keep building on that journey.
Yes, Kristoff, I'd like to know more about what FNF is doing for the youth and for entrepreneurs in Lebanon, other than the Lebanon Response Hackathon. We'll talk about it in a while.
Yeah, we have a lot of programs that are specifically targeted to the youth, and some of them, as I said, are related to political education, and others are related also to entrepreneurship. The ones on political education, we did two big summer schools now in August, one with the USG University on social movements. It was a one-week program where university students, not just USG students, but students from all over Lebanon, came together and learned a little bit on what social movements mean, and what it means for Lebanon, of course, and how they can also learn from experiences worldwide. And that's, I think, the stronghold a little bit of our foundation, because we work as a foundation in 60 countries worldwide. So we have a big network of speakers, of experts in different fields. So we try for these kind of programs also to bring outside views, not just an inner Lebanese view, but to also provide students with a more kind of outside perspective. We did another summer school that was on social innovation in politics with Riyada. That's an organization here in Lebanon that works also on entrepreneurship with the youth. And that was a great success, where young people tried out to use new technologies in order to initiate political change. So these are just a few examples of programs that we do directed towards the youth. We have many more other programs. We did an online hackathon with AUB on fighting disinformation, and I can go on, but I will not bore you with that. And then the second program that the other strand where we try to target the youth is or entrepreneurship. Is also very different programs that we do. I mean, we do with the Submarine and with David. We did an online hackathon back in April that was specifically targeted to find solution in order to fight COVID-19. We have done with the Submarine in cooperation also a pre-accelerator program now with 10 different startups in order to help them bring their ideas to life. And some of them are already now in contact with investors. So that was a great success for us. And then we try to do other kind of empowerment programs for entrepreneurs. We do an initiative at the moment called Rise Up Lebanon that helps entrepreneurs in the areas that were most destructed by the blast of August 4th. And we try to provide training for those really small scale businesses in the area, and we try to train them a little bit how they can rebuild their businesses and help their businesses come back to life.
That's already great, Kristoff. Thank you for all your efforts in Lebanon, and thank you for having also the Lebanon Response Hackathon and the Rise Up Lebanon, because it's needed now after many lost hope. And we will be talking about the hackathon more in details. Also, I want to ask Munir, what are you currently doing other than the hackathon, or what you did this year for youth and for entrepreneurs? I know you work more with entrepreneurs.
Yeah, sure. This is actually, well, how to say, of course, it's been quite a challenging year, but also an exciting year, and hopefully still an exciting couple months until the end of the year. There are 3 programs that we are working on now on a longer term basis. One of them here in Lebanon has been with the Asfari Foundation, focused on supporting education and lifelong learning related enterprises in the country, initiatives. Some of them, it's really focused on social impact. And so some of those projects are companies, some of them are nonprofits, some of them are not registered, but basically education innovation initiatives. And that's actually has been a really exciting one and a challenging one. We had 15 teams start, and it's an early stage program. We had 15 teams start in the early stage accelerator program with a small bit of funding and training and mentorship. Two of the teams dropped out, which is pretty common in this, working with early stage startups. But then the situation in the country started getting substantially more difficult because of the economy, because of the currency, because of COVID, and then the explosion. We had several teams affected by the explosion, some of them directly physically, some of them by their offices, and others, and everybody emotionally. That was very difficult. And then, and as well, we have a couple of teams now that either themselves or their families have COVID, and we're wishing them the best. But then, of course, this is impacting the startup world, the startup efforts here and social change efforts here. So, but that project, we just saw there. I'll give you a little secret glimpse, shall we say? We have a demo day coming up next Thursday, which all of you should join. But we saw the practice pitches yesterday, and literally by the end of it, I almost was brought to tears. These people have been working so hard. I was so inspired. It has been so insanely difficult. Normally, anywhere in the world, in the best places in the world, entrepreneurship is difficult. In Lebanon, it's that much more difficult. This year, it's been that much more difficult. And literally these people, and they're almost all, young people in their 20s, maybe, some in their 30s. Amazing, beautiful people, beautiful projects. Come next Thursday, check out Demo Day. You can find it on our website on Bloom.pm. We have another project that is in 9 MENA countries supporting social entrepreneurship. That's with Safi. It's called Safir. It's with EU and Institut Français and again, my French is not so good, but AUF, Agence Universitaire de la Francophonie, CFI, Canal France International, which is this media development group, with Labes in Tunisia, with ANND here in Lebanon. We're working to really build up the system and then support these accelerators and then these enterprises in different countries, which I'm super excited about. And then, of course, another project we're launching here in Lebanon, which is with RDPP, which is with the goal of supporting 50 enterprises. This also, because of COVID, because of the economic situation here, was supposed to start in January, max February, maybe March. Finally got approved, finalized in August, in mid-August, just a couple weeks after the explosion. And we're really, playing catch up and trying to see how collectively, it's really an ecosystem project. We're just sort of pulling together the elements, but want to see how we can work with all of these different wonderful groups. For sure, Andre, with you, with the submarine, with FNF, with others, to see how we can contribute to the ecosystem to support job creation, entrepreneurship, enterprises in Lebanon in this crazy time. So this is the main element. I'll tell you one other little, we'll maybe talk about a little bit more on the hackathon side, but we're working on something really exciting, I think, related to skill development, related to entrepreneurship, which we're going to be sort of piloting, sharing some of that in the hackathon next week, which I think is super exciting. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it later in the call. Otherwise, you guys should just come join the hackathon and enjoy that experience. So yeah, I'll stop there.
Can I just, Andre, sorry. I just want to second what David said on the commitment and the brains that Lebanon has, and the great people that are out there, and just the commitment. Because I was talking about our pre-accelerator program that we were running And it was supposed to start the Monday after August the 4th. And we were really wondering whether it's the right time, to go ahead with our program. And we contacted all the startups that were part of that program. And all of them immediately said, it's now the time to go ahead, and we want to go through with it. And we really want to learn, and we want to bring our ideas to life. And I think that was so inspiring to see, the commitment of young people in Lebanon, not just young people, but a lot of them were, of course, young people who were just founding their startups or just came up with an idea. And the commitment they showed in the program is just, mind blowing. And I was really, really impressed by it. And that's why I'm also so much looking forward to our upcoming hackathon now, and to see again great minds, great people, and great ideas, and we try to help them make those ideas become reality.
Yes, Kristoff. Actually, I was the trainer for the session on the 10th of August, and I was collaborating with Noor, and she told me, Andre, would you be able to deliver the session on the 10th of August? I said, just ask the entrepreneurs. If they are ready, I'm ready. And then she called me and she said, Andre, you can't believe it. No one apologized. Everyone is ready to come and join the workshop, and they want to give hope for what they are doing. And actually, they were the hope for us and for everyone, because the projects they are working on are towards the community, are towards improvement, are towards problem solving, filling needs, and so on. So thank you for this program, because I know it was a collaboration of the three of you. And good luck for all the entrepreneurs. And thank you, Noor, also. She just commented in the chat box. And I look forward to knowing more about the hackathon. So who would like to start talking about the Lebanon Response Hackathon?
Yeah, maybe if David allows.
Yeah.
Well, I just introduced it in very short words because we have a kind of a history because we organized already, as I was saying earlier, together with David and also with Noor. We organized back in April an online hackathon on the topic of how to respond to the COVID-19 crisis. And I think it's still ongoing. That's why it's also part of the upcoming hackathon. But back then, I think we organized it we had the idea, and within a week we pulled it out, and we learned a lot from it. And it was a great program with great ideas that came out of it. But we also had, we also saw that we had some limitation in our program. We wanted to improve on it. And then we had planned to broaden it a little bit and do another hackathon that has a little bit more of preparation time. And then it was originally planned for the summer, but then the blast happened, and then we decided to kind of start it up now in October. And I'm very much looking forward to it, because I think now a lot of planning has gone into it. And we came up with a great program with different streams that the teams can work on. And I hand it over to David to maybe just elaborate a little bit more on the details.
Yeah, sure. And just as well, by the way, I'm not sure where you all now, but you're seeing the light change behind me and in front of me. Maybe I'll just flip this around for a moment to just show the beautiful sunset in Jebel as we see it dip over the Mediterranean. So wherever you folks are, I hope you're enjoying the start of a wonderful evening and the end of a wonderful and positive and productive week as we head into the weekend. Yeah, the hackathon I'm super excited about, and first off, another quick shout out to the wonderful group that's pulling it together, the folks at FNF, the folks at the farm, at the submarine co-working, at Exxon board, and my colleagues as well at Bloom, and especially Dada, who's on this call. Thank you, Dada. And then also, we have several great partners and some others coming on board soon, but there's NASA, the National Association of Science and Research, and Antwork, and Live Love, and of course, Entrepreneurgy. And this is, I'll tell you, there's something special about hackathons and the role of hackathons in an ecosystem and in solving problems and in the startup process, it's a great opportunity to help people connect, share ideas, experiment, and learn, and to then see what comes of that. Now, interestingly, we often talk about the successes of startups, but one of the most important things is the idea of failing fast. It's better to figure out within a couple days that this idea maybe is not the right idea, there's something missing, or maybe this is not what I'm most excited about, etc. Maybe this isn't the right team that I'm working with. It's much better to figure that out in a couple days rather than a couple months or a couple years or longer. And so this is one of the things we love about hackathons, is there's just great opportunity to get people together, try out ideas, try out collaborating with some people, try out solutions to some of the key challenges that we are facing, in the country or in the world, learn some good stuff in the process, and then figure out, well, do I want to continue with this or do I not want to continue with this? Both of them are great options. So I'm really excited about that. And actually, we're even taking that a little bit of a step further in this hackathon, especially related to skill development, because one of the things that we have been researching, studying, and observing the last 5-7 years here in Lebanon is trying to figure out what are those skills that help entrepreneurs be more successful, be maybe even happier, enjoy their effort better, and what are the things that really, the skills that they're missing that really can be a drag on a startup, on a project, or on an entrepreneur. And we're going to be sharing some of that in the hackathon and really having some focused interventions and focused workshops to help cultivate some of those skills. Now, some of them we do develop here in Lebanon, which is great. And some of them in Lebanon, we're missing out a lot on in terms of how our school system works, how our after-school activities, how our extracurricular opportunities, even how a lot of businesses work in terms of skill development through on-the-job training. And so we want to see how we can just be most effective collectively, in the hackathon and then in the ecosystem to help people develop those skills in an ongoing way. So I'll stop there. We can talk about the tracks. We can talk about the timeline. We can talk about what do people do? What do you do if you don't have an idea? What do you do if you don't have a team? What do you do if you're afraid of failing? We can talk about all of that stuff, but I'll stop there and see what questions there are, see what questions Andre has, or others have as well.
Yes, thank you. So if anyone has a question, please write it in the chat box and I will ask it to the speakers. For Kristoff and for Munir, about the hackathon or about their activities in Lebanon and for the entrepreneurs.
Can I just add one thing? I think what David said about the hackathon is so important, and I think that there are a lot of hackathons, online hackathons that are happening, lots of hackathons generally that are happening. What sometimes is missing, I think, and that's what David is also so passionate about, and I think that's why I love working with him, is that sometimes you do this hackathon and then let's say it ends on a Sunday evening and then everyone goes home and you don't really know what comes out. What's the follow-up? And that's why we also agreed to have a kind of for a winning team, the winning team, to have a mentorship afterwards, that they, there's a follow-up to the winning idea. And that's so important that I think that, you should not just end the hackathon on the day of the last day of the hackathon, but there should be a follow-up. And that's what we are trying also with this hackathon, where we also learn from other hackathons that there is a need for follow-up and a need to provide additional training afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
That's very important, and I totally agree. I guess David was with me in the Yalla Startup Weekend in 2010, you remember? And since then, we had many startup weekends, hackathons, and I guess very few thought of the mentorship after the hackathon. So it's a great move, and it's a great opportunity to everyone who would like to get this value out of the hackathon and the mentorship later on. You wanted to say something, Munir?
Yeah, sure. I mean, just to add quickly, one, there are a number of things happening in terms of hackathons and stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, I think actually there's much too few. I think that these, whatever we can sort of both for the ecosystem, but then even for people who are going through the learning process, is that these are not things that you just learn once, you do once, and then you're done. Learning to pitch, learning around project management, learning to collaborate as a team, learning around UX, UI, learning around understanding customer interest and behavior, and finding that product market fit. These are things that people keep learning for a lifetime. I, for example, started public speaking when I was in junior high. I guess even in elementary school, I was part of theater when I was in elementary school, and then junior high and high school. And still, I love learning and I love getting feedback about public speaking. And I know I have a lot to improve, and the journey continues. So the more opportunities like this to learn, in my mind, the better. The more opportunities like this we can do in the ecosystem, the better. So anyway, I think that so that's one side in terms of the opportunities for learning and experimentation and growth. On the other side, in terms of mentorship, so I think mentorship is so valuable, but we don't have nearly enough opportunities for that in our life, not just with startups, but this idea of learning from people who have gone through stuff beforehand is so wonderful. And so I definitely, of course, encourage people to come join the hackathon. And we're going to select a number of teams to continue to get mentorship. But even in your life otherwise, if anybody is struggling with something, wants to learn, is looking for a job or working on something in a startup, whether it's a formal mentorship program or on your own reaching out to some people to get some of that, I think is really, really powerful. And I'm a big fan, big supporter of that.
So thank you, Dara, for answering Hani, but I have to make it public in order for the people watching on YouTube to know the answer. So Hani Maulawi is asking, what is the timeline of the hackathon?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so it's happening. The main event is next Friday through Sunday, October 9th to 11th. Deadline to apply is the 7th, not apply, to register is the 7th. And then the pitch day is happening on the 13th, on Tuesday. And we did this intentionally, by the way, because, one thing that's important to think about, and I know, Andre, you think about this a lot, is about this aspect of, we can call it work-life balance, but it's not just that in a hackathon that we want the most number of hours, is we want the best possible outcome. And so we decided to structure this hackathon as well a little bit differently than a lot of other hackathons. Normally it starts on a Friday and it's basically people work nonstop and they pitch Sunday evening. We decided on this to take a bit of a different approach, that we're starting Friday, we're having some great interventions, workshops, team formation, stuff like that on Friday. Saturday, there are going to be a bunch of opportunities for workshops, for learning, for getting feedback from your mentors, from trainers, from other experts. Sunday is going to be a pretty chill day. Now, we know in Lebanon, people like having lunch with their families. People like taking a bit of a break on Sunday. It's, the end of summer. It's okay to relax a little bit. We want people to relax a little bit. There's this really interesting aspect that very often when you're trying to find a solution or something, it's when you cram your brain with that information and then you go for a walk, then you take a shower, then you exercise and you get epiphanies. And this is common because actually it's the back part of our brain. The conscious part of our brain is actually smaller than the subconscious part of our brain. So when you fill it with the questions that you're struggling with, the challenges and information and learning, feedback from mentors, feedback from customers, discussions with teams, that's all in the conscious part of your brain. Then you take a break, you relax, you go for a walk, you enjoy nature, then you're letting your subconscious part of your brain process. And this often leads to great ideas and great epiphanies. And we encourage people, keep a notebook, write them down. Those can be some of your best solutions. Anyway, Sunday, chill day. Mentorship is still there. We're still there for you guys. If any of the people want feedback, we're there for you, but it's pretty chill. Monday, work time with the folks, send in the pitch decks, and then pitching on Tuesday evening. And we're super excited already to see what comes out of it. Okay, criteria to apply. Oh, sorry, yes. Go on, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying the link is LebanonHacks.com. It's written on Zoom and on YouTube. And Afaf Bal'a asked, what is the criteria to apply?
Yeah, so for this one, we're being pretty flexible on this because our goal is really finding solutions and supporting solutions to help the country. A lot of other hackathons, they take kind of a bit more a rigid approach, which is also totally fine. But they say, come and register, and then we're going to tell you the challenge on Friday evening, and then, whatever. There's these different rules to try to make things a bit more fair, etc. Really, if you have a project that you're working on and that you want to come join and get support and mentorship, that's at that sort of early stage, fantastic, join. If you don't have an idea at all, then come and join. If you don't have a team, you're just joining as an individual, great, come and join. Together, we're going to work together to try to help as many teams as possible build solutions that can help in some positive way with these layers of challenges we're having in the country. And if you have energy, you have positivity, you want to help out, then we want you to be part of it.
Great. So LebanonHacks.com, register before October 7th. And the hackathon is from October 9 till 11, and the demo day is on October 13th, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Hani is asking if it's going to be online. I guess the answer is yes, right?
Yeah, it's all going to be online, although this is an interesting thing. So we've been running online programs, mostly online programs for most of the last 3 years. We're firm believers in the power of online learning and online collaboration, but we also know that some people love working together. Now, if you and your team want to work together, then work together somewhere, then great. There also is our wonderful partner, the Submarine Co-working, that also is looking at ways to provide support to teams after. And maybe some other groups that want to see how to, we're in discussion with some other groups to try to provide, physical working space for groups after. We're totally into that as well. But the bulk of it is going to be online. And also, by the way, there are going to be key parts of it that are both sort of synchronous live sessions and asynchronous, videos and recordings and stuff like that. So people can adapt a little bit to their schedule and have those resources to share and review and benefit from after.
So thank you, Munir. Kristoff, your last word for every young person who wants to join this hackathon or who's looking to leap into the entrepreneurial journey.
No, I think I can only second what David said. I think, this is really for everyone to apply for. We are very open about the objectives, about the challenges. If you don't have an idea, you can join us and we can see to fit you to a team that you might, find interesting. If you already have an idea, but no team, also join. And if you have a team and an idea, even better, join. So it's really open for everyone, and I really encourage everyone to take part in it, because I think it's really now time. I mean, of course, everyone says it at any given point of time, but I think that Lebanon is really in need for the entrepreneurial spirit of the Lebanese people, and it's really in you guys. So I really encourage everyone to take part of it, and because it will help you. It's all about also developing skill sets, and that's what we put the focus on in this hackathon. It's not just about working on a solution; it's also acquiring new skill sets and helping you in your future careers. Maybe there's no idea that comes out of this that will be successful, but you have learned a lot and you gain additional skills, and that's what this hackathon is all about.
Look amazing. And just to add a bit of detail to what Kristoff is saying, that there are these 3 amazing, I think really exciting steps go. So of course, we're going to have workshops related to normal aspects of the startup process. But also, there are these three really interesting ones. One is around ambition, aiming high with a startup. The second is around public speaking, and the third around decision making. Now, one thing really interesting that we've seen, and we chose these specifically, so aiming high, because we've seen a lot of projects here in Lebanon and in the region, by the way, that they make decisions really early on that cap their potential growth and potential impact. And so we're really excited about working with the teams to see how, even if you're starting small, even if you're starting local, that's totally fine, but how can you make sure to set up the framework to be able to possibly grow bigger in the future if the project's working. Around public speaking, this touches on everything, every role. It's really beneficial, I think, across the board, and there are not nearly enough opportunities here in Lebanon to really practice it. But whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, becoming a bit more comfortable with that is really, really powerful. And then the third, decision making, is super interesting because basically an entrepreneur is a decision making machine. You have to be making a ton of decisions on a daily basis. Sometimes you can do research and you get lots of info. Sometimes you can't have much info. You got to use your gut, your instinct. But this is a really, really important aspect of the entrepreneurial process. And it's actually a muscle in the brain. You can cultivate and build that muscle of decision making. And I just saw yesterday, actually, there was a talk. So I studied at UC Berkeley in California, and I'm on the mailing list for some things happening there in California. And there was a talk just a couple days ago about some really interesting research and the importance of decision making, especially in times of instability and times of crisis. And so we're excited to be sharing and working with folks on those skills as well.
Thank you, David. Before I asked from Noor to tell us about what the submarine is offering for the entrepreneurs. But before I asked Noor to unmute herself, Daher Hani on YouTube, he said, I don't have an idea. I'm a developer data scientist living in France. Would love to join. So I'm asking if it's open also for people who are living abroad.
Absolutely.
If you got the, if you got the internet there and you want to join and work with teams, ahlan wa sahlan. I would,
Great.
Welcome, of course.
Thank you. Noor, I would like you to tell us more about what the submarine is offering to the entrepreneurs, because David said they can come and work at the co-working space. So what other things you are offering?
Definitely, they can always come and they'll have space, internet access, and all of the amenities that we currently provide. I'll be also mentoring and helping the startups in their journey throughout the process of the hackathon, before and after the hackathon. So if they need any kind of support from my side, either it is in mentorship, training, any kind of the soft skills part, and the space, will be more than happy to provide it. We're always happy to be working with David Munir and Kristoff from FNF. And of course, we don't have to say you. It's always a pleasure. It's a really nice ecosystem, and it really gives hope to Lebanon. And I mean, it's the only way to go forward. We don't have any other way, only to go forward.
Yep. Thank you, Noor. Thank you, David. Thank you, Kristoff. I will be sending the replay to our mailing list on Monday. It will have the links to FNF, to Bloom, to the submarine also, and to LebanonHacks.com, so you can know more about the initiatives and about the hackathon. I look forward to seeing the entrepreneurs joining the hackathon and watching their pitches at the end and the demo day. Thank you, everyone, and see you next week.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Thanks, Andre. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Andre. Bye.
Bye.